In the early days of November 1997, a series of strange sessions led a Maine child psychologist to contact authorities. It all began when one of his young patients revealed details about an imaginary companion. This companion, referred to as Mr. Smile, existed only in the child's imagination, a fact confirmed by both the psychiatrist and the boy's parents. In therapy sessions, the child talked extensively about Mr. Smile, attributing the name to the constant smile that adorned his face and the pervasive sense of happiness he brought. Despite being treated for severe anger and depression, the boy claimed that Smile's presence miraculously dispelled all negative emotions. Mr. Smile, as described by the boy, remained silent, stood at the foot of his bed, exuded a sweet scent reminiscent of candy, and instilled in the boy a profound sense of calm and security. At first, the psychologist dismissed the imaginary friend as a coping mechanism for the child's domestic challenges, but a disturbing pattern emerged when subsequent patients, including a 9-year-old girl, a 7-year-old boy, a 12-year-old boy, and an 11-year-old girl, all began to report encounters with their own Mr. Smile. In all, about 15 patients shared similar stories about Mr. Smile. The psychologist initially dismissed these accounts as mere coincidences, attributing them to the commonality of children having imaginary friends. The generic nature of the name and description downplayed the significance at first. But as the number of patients describing Mr. Smile grew, the psychologist became increasingly concerned. Seeking more details, he discovered that each child was describing Mr. Smile in exactly the same way, using identical words and expressions. The psychologist struggled with the implausibility of these children coordinating their stories, especially since some were homeschooled and rarely left their homes, making collaboration unlikely. The possibility of joint rehearsals or testimony preparation was clearly ruled out. This revelation led him to a deeply disturbing realization. He then had confidential conversations with the parents of each child individually. Carefully avoiding excessive detail, he informed them of a disturbing development that had been uncovered during several therapy sessions with different patients. He expressed his concern that their child might be in danger and asked for permission to involve the authorities, with the assurance that the parents would be kept informed. The parents agreed to cooperate and remained vigilant to stay informed. Over the next week, law enforcement officials interviewed the children about their strange friend. The questioning delved into specifics about his appearance, an aspect the children struggled to describe except to emphasize his distinctive smile and the notion that he was not like them. At this point, the psychiatrist, the parents, and the police shared the belief that Mr. Smile was not merely an imaginary entity, but a tangible and dangerous presence. Authorities confirmed that there were no known predators in the area, reinforcing the belief that Smile was a real person who entered the children's homes surreptitiously at night. Curiously, none of the children could shed any light on how Mr. Smile gained access to their homes. Their accounts revealed that they would wake up to find him at the foot of their beds. Occasionally, they mentioned that he would hum a non-English lullaby, creating a sense of security. As a final investigative step, the children were asked to depict Mr. Smile through drawings, as verbal descriptions proved challenging. Using red crayons, each child colored the entire page until a red rectangle was created. Surprisingly, when questioned about their artwork, the children vehemently insisted that the red rectangles were their representations of Mr. Smile. When confronted with the absence of a head, arms, and legs, they insisted that they had drawn an accurate representation of the man at their bedside. When informed that they had merely colored the page without drawing anything tangible, their reactions became indignant as they felt falsely accused of dishonesty. Nevertheless, they insisted that their red rectangles had indeed captured the essence of the man they had encountered. On a speculative hunch, the psychiatrist showed one of the drawn rectangles to several children and asked them to identify it. Unaware of its origin or the existence of other children discussing the matter, each child independently claimed that it was a representation of Miss Smile. Surveillance cameras and baby monitors were strategically placed in children's rooms to provide constant surveillance. Many parents abandoned sleep altogether, choosing to stay awake throughout the night, fixated on screens that revealed the locations of their slumbering children. No one entered or left the bedrooms, and the only audible sounds over the baby monitors were the children's snoring or occasional sleep-induced chatter. There was no sign of Mr. Smile. After nearly 2 weeks of vigilant observation, doubt crept into the minds of many parents, who wondered if Mr. Smile had ever existed. Some psychiatrists dismissed the phenomenon as an inexplicable shared delusion with no basis in reality. Speculations surfaced that the entire Mr. Smile ordeal might have originated from a common television show or movie that the children had watched together, sparking a similar imaginative creation. Skepticism was abruptly shattered when one of the boys disappeared. The camera in his room had stopped working around 2 in the morning, prompting his mother to rush to his room, only to find it empty. Despite the short time it took her to reach his room, there was no plausible way he could have disappeared or been abducted in that time frame. The room emitted a scent reminiscent of cotton candy. The subsequent search for the boy yielded no results. No unusual events were reported around the house before or during the disappearance, and no trace of him could be found. Less than a week later, a girl who had previously spoken of Mr. Smile disappeared, followed by another girl and then another boy. Each disappearance followed an eerie pattern until only 4 children remained. The remaining quartet began to express their anticipation of being taken away soon by Mr. Smile and his friends. When questioned about these friends, they described how Mr. Smile resided with other smiling figures in the happy place, and they were destined. According to the children, the happy place was already populated by many people, and they described it as a beautiful realm. They claimed to have knowledge of it through Mr. Smile, who communicated with them in their heads, showing them mental images of the place they were destined to go. As the weeks passed, the situation took an ominous turn. The children complained of headaches and nausea, and their schools reported hallucinations. 2 of them expressed dissatisfaction with the place Mr. Smile had shown them, expressing a dislike for the bright colors. One child even screamed for an extended period of time, apparently in distress, demanding that the horrible colors stop and that they leave immediately. One child revealed that Mr. Smile was constantly communicating with them in their thoughts, giving them terrifying information. However, the child insisted on remaining silent, fearing that discussion would expose his parents to the same disturbing revelations. To build trust, the psychiatrist persuaded one of the boys to write down Mr. Smile's messages, assuring him of confidentiality. The contents of the written records are known only to him and the authorities. When inquired about, those involved become noticeably reticent and quickly deflect the conversation. The children's sleep patterns were disrupted, as evidenced by security camera footage showing them sitting rigidly upright, eyes fixed and unblinking, staring at the wall in complete silence. Sedatives proved ineffective. Disturbingly, one girl began carving strange circular marks into her skin, while 2 boys stopped using English altogether. Despite numerous attempts to decipher their language, no one could identify them. Early 1999, all 4 children had inexplicably disappeared. No trace of their whereabouts has been found. Ongoing searches have yielded no results, leaving uncertainty as to whether they are alive or dead. No suspects have been identified, and the 4 children, like others who disappeared before them, seem to have vanished without explanation, perpetuating the mystery surrounding their inexplicable disappearance.